Hello and welcome. This is Alchemistexe, and this is the weekly update for September 2nd. So, before I get into the content and banner overview, I wanted to talk about a couple of things. The first of which is the update schedule for September, because I had originally thought that because the pre-Gate 7 content was just about out, aside from seasonal events like the Halloween, that they were going to release Gate 7 most likely this month, maybe next month if they could pad it out, with Glex or something like that. But instead, what has happened is that they've just skipped the release of Gate 7 and are releasing content that is post Gate 7, but retrofitting it into pre-Gate 7. Like as far as tuning it goes. Now you might have noticed if you've been doing the box event for Natsume and Ren that there are items that you can't use yet, like the coins that are used for the the special Gate 7 skill, as well as Griffin statues, and that's what that is for, and the reason why is because originally it was post Gate 7 content. So my initial prediction is very off now because they just did something that I didn't consider to be a possibility. So because this is the case, people had asked in the comments when I think it's coming, and originally September was my best guess, and now I don't know. It could be the anniversary. The anniversary makes a lot of sense now that I know that they're willing to retrofit newer content, but it could also be sooner. Because one other thing I wanted to note was that as far as the September update goes, they listed 3 things. The event we're doing now, Natsume and Ren, the D'Artagnan event, and then Kaya's class change, which actually was a pre-Gate 7 content. That was actually one of the last things they got before, not counting collabs. So that's only 3 things. Usually there's 1 per week. So there might be something we don't expect. It might not be Gate 7. It could be something totally different. But I would just, keep your eyes and ears open and maybe be a little bit reserved with your gem spending unless you're really, really into one of the things that was announced. But that was all I really wanted to say extra. So as far as what we've got new this week, new unit Natsume, and Ren has a job plus, and then both of them have new normal pool mementos. And that is the main thing this week. As you can see from this footage, I'm trying out the Natsume mercenary. She seems very specialized in reducing enemy movement and then lowering res to back attack and a little bit of other CC. She seems pretty solid overall. Not a bad setup for a unit as far as a limited with a normal pool memento. That can be a good, fairly affordable option as far as this game goes. So not a unit that I would want to chase just because of how set I am in water, but for people that maybe they don't have Eins or they missed out on Yaris's event, I could see her being a good unit. She also just looks really, really cool, and sometimes that makes the difference. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at the content. Okay, so first things first, I want to talk about the challenge board, because if you recently completed it and you claimed the ticket, you might have noticed it's not in your inventory. As far as I know, that hasn't been fixed yet. The reason for this is that they accidentally, basically Gumi messed up. They accidentally made it so you could claim the tickets an unlimited number of times, and so before they noticed, a bunch of people were able to get a functionally infinite amount of normal pool 5-star mementos, as long as they kept going into the menu and then going back in and reclaiming the tickets, etc., etc. I didn't even know about this at the time that it was happening, so I never even had the chance to consider whether or not I wanted to do it. I'd say for as far as benefiting from an exploit, you should definitely be careful, because that's the kind of situation where potentially you could be looking at a ban. I don't think they're going to do that in this case, because, it's not like someone's macro spamming or something, or literally hacking the game. It's on them for, not doing the proofreading required to restrict the consumption of that reward. So I think it'd be harder to justify banning, but I don't know. So I definitely would never like endorse that. But we'll just have to see like what their idea of a fair restitution of this situation is. I'm certainly curious to see that. But enough about that. Let's take a look at the Ren and Natsume event. So it's a box event. If you've done one of those before, it's exactly the same. Quests, hard quest, EX quests, equivalent bosses, coins, tickets, all that. One interesting thing to note here, though, is that, as I said in the intro, there's Gate 7 materials in here, but also the tokens you need for Ren, as well as 25 Natsume shards. So if you're trying to transmute Natsume, this helps a lot, because that way you only have to buy 100 from the shop, and that RNG can definitely be a nightmare. A little bit more about that in the banner overview. There's also another hell level where you can get a sinful bubble, and then a couple of like the damage bonus levels are rerunning as well, but otherwise the Black Star Siblings is the big event this week. So yeah, that is it for the content. Let's now take a look at the banners. Are all of you ready for a really fast banner overview? Because I think this is a very easy skip week. I think both the paid banners are terrible. I just think they're way too expensive for what you get. That's all I really have to say about that. The 3-step is bad, as they always are. However, there is one case where I could see maybe spending on it. If you really, really want Natsume, sorry, and you are trying to transmute her, and you're having horrible luck in the shop, and you're like 25 shards away, then you're going to get one free roll on this. And then you'll have one discount ticket. So you're looking at like 3K for 25 shards, which is a bad deal compared to the Louise shop. It's a little bit more expensive. But if you're being forced to spend on like 600 gem rerolls at that point, like I'm talking just awful RNG in the shop, and it does happen. So this banner could be helpful in that sense. But I wouldn't recommend doing that more, going beyond that 3rd step, because then all of a sudden you're looking at way more expensive than the transmutation cost. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. There is a banner that's good for rookies and no one else, but even then you can get Vettel and Rado for free via challenge board right now anyway. There's a coin banner for these limited units. I think it's bad just because I don't think that they really justify the cost of it. If we're talking Genesis or Global Exclusive, then yeah. And I'm saying this as someone who I use Ren and Nina and Ewan fairly regularly. I'm sure if I had Rachel, I'd use her. I don't really like Rochelle. It's kind of a design thing. It's just as cool as her reactive is. Then we've got a memento. So these are both normal pool, as I've mentioned before. So if you got to have them, it's here. Otherwise, I'd say be patient, get it later. Then we've got a 7-step for this group of mementos. And now there are some good ones in there. I like Reime's memento. I don't have Rado's because I have terrible luck, but that one is good for him. And then the Nina, of course, gives you an amazing memento leader skill. Nonetheless, though, unless you have to have one of those and you're just set on it, I think most people could safely skip this and be fine. And just save your gems for, some of the things upcoming, like just to name a few, Nimble, the Bianca, the Wadatsumi Ninja Trio, the Ratharis Edgelord Trio. Just there's all kinds of good units coming up, and we don't know when Gate 7 is coming, so it's definitely a good time to save, at least until we know what else is coming for September. So that's all I've got to say for weekly update. Oh, actually, wait, one more thing. The Kudenstein banner is still around, and that could be a good option for people. If you are in need of a dark physical unit, he could definitely be your guy, especially if you don't have Zengi or you don't have Zengi's memento. Especially if you've already used discount tickets on the banner. It's around for another week, so it's definitely an option to consider. Okay, that's it for real this time. So hopefully for those of you doing anything RNG based, I wish you luck, and I will see you all next time.